All right. Good Monday morning, you guys. Oh my gosh, we are at the home stretch of March. Can you believe it, you guys? Oh my Lord. So it's been a wild ride here. But before we dive into that, you guys are listening to Author Talk with me, Amy, Russell, Valerie, and our author guest today is Jackiem. And so, you guys, let's dive into the weekend. Okay. Shall we? Let's just get the torture over with. So, the weekend. Well, last weekend, you guys know that I went to Empower Her Hope Summit last year, and I got recognized by one of the Texas state representatives. My
Show
company
us your
did.
trophy
So that was a lot
again.
of fun. Oh, I
Show
gotta
us
go
your-
get it. It's right. It's right there.
Oh, go get it. Go.
Yeah, show
for the
us.
love of God.
You got to
Okay,
show this
anyways,
stuff
hold on.
off. Look, she
I'll
gets all
go
this
get it in a
courage
minute.
again, and she
Okay.
Yeah, it
makes
doesn't
us-
happen every
terrible
day.
at it.
Let's show it off.
I'm
Come on,
terrible at it.
girl.
Okay, I'll go get it in a minute. Let me finish my thing that's on my mind. So, anyways, you guys know I got in like a hailstorm last week, like literally hours before I was supposed to go to this thing. Last night, we got notified that we were supposed to be getting tennis ball size hail. Okay. And you guys know me. I love my car more than I love my husband. Not my kids, but my husband. It's a true statement. Everybody knows this.
It is
I truly
true,
love
Jackie.
it.
She destroyed his manhood by making him sell his motorcycle so she could buy his vehicle.
No. He had to.
Emasculating.
See, this is what I was talking about. But no, he had to, and he opted to sell them. Okay, so no, but whatever. We'll go with Russell's story. It sounds better. So we'll go with Russell's story for sure. But on top of that, that's what we were supposed to get was tennis ball size hail. Okay. Lucky enough, we did not get that, which was fabulous. It actually created this bubble, like literally around my neighborhood. So we ended up not getting it, which was fantastic. It was great, just wonderful. So outside of that, right, my brother-in-law found his placement in his doctor program. So we all know he's in medical school and he found his residency. So we got to find out Friday on where he will be going. So my in-laws and everybody came in town on Thursday, which was a really fun time. My house was clean, which was a fingers crossed, wonderful thing. And so my weekend in a nutshell was recuperating from all of that and keeping my children alive, which some days is the best accomplishment we can do. Okay. So I'm going to mute myself while you guys all tell me. I know, right? I'm going to mute myself while you guys tell me about your weekend. Whoever wants to go first, let me go get my trophy before Russell gives me the stank eye and then I'm just dead to him for the rest of the day. So I'm going to go get it. I'll be right back. But someone tell me about your weekend.
Jackiem, tell us about how you were in this band or something and you performed at this club all weekend. Tell it, brag, make us jealous.
Well, actually, this weekend I was in Cincinnati performing.
I'm not jealous of that.
Yeah, it's so the weather there I wasn't too happy about. It's cold, so but fine. I was performed at a venue called the Ludlow Garage. So amazing people came out from Kentucky, from Cincinnati, from Ohio. So fun venue, great show. We performed about a 75-minute show, which was so cool. I performed with a couple of friends of mine, Brian Simpson, Steve Oliver. So it was a nice, I say it was a pretty nice weekend. And then I was out of there, I'm not too big of a fan of Ohio, but it's just that's a whole nother story. But it was fun, a good weekend for me. Now I'm getting things geared up for touring this spring and this summer. We're going to be all over the place, so definitely looking forward to all of that.
That's cool.
Man,
okay.
that puts everybody's weekend to shame right there. Like no one wants to follow that.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah.
That's the way it should be.
That was awesome. Like, wasn't it like fun, exciting, weekend? And Jackiem, to be completely honest with you, and Russell knows this, and I say this every chance I get. I don't travel, so I don't know what Ohio is like. I'm a Texas girl through and through. I have not left, but I will take your word as to why you don't like it. I love Texas, so I won't leave it.
Restored part.
Doesn't Cincinnati have a thing like for their chili, or is it they brag about their chili or something like that? It's
no. That's it.
And I think my husband had went up there on a business trip and he was like, it wasn't all that. I don't know.
Yeah. I didn't have
I've heard that the restored part of Cincinnati is very great and it's very cool. Is that true, Jackiem?
It's gray, it's cold. I don't like the cold, so anything cold doesn't work with me, you know.
How can you be from upstate New York and not like the cold?
I grew up in New York. I did grew up in New York in Syracuse, and I think that's the reason why I stayed in so much and practiced on the saxophone, because it was so cold that I couldn't do anything else.
You know, that makes sense.
I don't
that
blame
makes
you.
sense.
Don't blame you.
Us Texans don't like the cold either. Okay. That's why we live in the temperatures of like 115 degrees in the summer,
we
and
can
we're
take
all
that.
doing pretty good. As long as we've got AC, we're good, because we don't do the cold either. I mean, I don't know about Valerie, but I sure don't. Russell's abandoned us and went to Georgia, so he kind of does the cold, but it don't mean
It's
he
cold
like
here.
it.
It's cold here too. That's why I'm not outside. Usually, Jackiem, I do the show from outside, but it's too cold today. Okay, I'll go next. My thing for the weekend is completely different than Jackiem's.
Okay.
I am kind of a gym rat. I know I don't look like it, Jackiem, but I am. And so this weekend, on my new kick is pushing and pulling sleds. I pushed and pulled sleds all weekend. I can barely walk today, but
wow,
I had a blast this weekend. I was either pushing and pulling sleds, or I was at the dog bar with my dog running around, drinking beer, talking to lots of very cool people that put too much priority in their dogs, just like me. So
speaking of Rita, there's Rita
Rita watching the dog TV on YouTube. She loves it. She's watching it right now. In fact, she may even come over here because she heard me say her name. And also she has this thing about hearing Aimee's voice. Sometimes she comes over and starts watching Aimee when Aimee is talking on our show and starts barking at her. She really likes Aimee.
I love it.
Anyway,
trying to put her 2 cents in.
Pushing sleds. Now that's a workout.
It was great. Yeah. It was great. You know, being my age, you have to continuously diversify your workout so you don't break stuff. It's a thing.
Yeah. Wow.
So my new thing is pushing and sleds.
Jeez, you're so strong, man. I got to see your bicep.
Yeah.
I don't even do that. I don't do.
And Russell, is that an inside thing? You're doing it inside or outside or what?
Yeah, I work out at Lifetime Gyms, and they have a big sled with resistance, and you add weight to it, and then you pull it, and then you push it back, and that's a thing. It's great.
So what do you feel
that
like?
Sounds
Mostly
miserable.
your legs or your back? Your legs or your back or what?
It's a full body workout.
Yeah,
it's
legs, back, shoulder, back, legs.
Right.
That sounds awful.
We're gonna put him on the O line next. He's on the O line.
Jeez, that'll keep you young. Keep doing that.
It's too late for that, but
that just sounds terrible. I mean, kudos to you, because I just watched, TV all weekend. But kudos to you. You are a better person than I.
Well,
I would not be caught. I won't be caught dead in a gym.
We won't talk about it.
Wait, Aimee, do you go to the gym? Because I really don't. I don't go to the gym.
No, when it comes to the gym, you will not catch me dead in a gym. Now, I will be honest. If you catch me in a gym, I'm walking on the treadmill and I probably have a snack with me. I'm not going to lie. I probably do. For my sanity.
You do, as young as you do, as close as they are to each other. That's your workout.
Yeah.
Okay,
none of the rest of us could do it.
That's true. Okay, Jackiem. So I have 2 girls that are 13 months apart. And this is where Russell usually goes off and calls me reckless and all these other things, even though he has more kids than I do. But besides the point. Okay, that's besides the point. So that's
I don't give her any grief because I have 4 kids.
Right, I know. But my youngest always likes to make an appearance, so she'll come up. But that's what he's talking about, because I do run around and do that, and I work and do other stuff. But still, you won't catch me in a gym. You just won't.
Oh, look at that.
This part of the show, Jackiem. Sometimes it gets crazy, and sometimes it's the best part of the show.
We're missing the cat. We're missing the cat today.
Yes, we are. We're missing the cat. My dogs are back home, you guys. My dogs are back home.
That's so funny.
Wow.
You can hear.
Valerie, what did you do?
Well, I went to the beach to recoup after like a really crazy couple of weeks because anyway, so I needed that Zen moment and just we did some work on our house and stuffed my face a lot. So drank some beer on the beach, took long walks.
Drinking some beer on the beach.
Couldn't ask for better weather, so I'm feeling good. And then of course Sunday morning we wake up to leave and my tire is down to like 20 pounds. I was like, what have I done? So and that's where I spent my morning at Discount Tire trying to get that squared away. And of course there's a nail in my tire, but you know what? I was in a very cool state of mind because I just had a very chill weekend, and if things like that are great. But dang, Amy, that storm last night, I was like, I must have been really tired because I heard a little clap of thunder and it was loud enough to wake me up. And then I was like, okay, I'm out again. It
was crazy. So I'm telling you, my weather people were losing it. They're like, we're gonna get golf ball size hail, and my mouth just dropped. Like it really did just drop. And I was like, there's nothing I can do. And I went to my garage and I was going to move stuff around in my garage because
do you have one of those junk garages? You do, don't you?
No. I was going to move and now I'm not moving. So my garage has boxes that were packed that are now I need to unpack again. And I was going to move them to the side. And then I just was like, that's a lot of effort. And it was like 10 o'clock at night, and I had battled my kids all day where I just was like, I'll take my chances, I'll take my chances. So
yeah,
it was one of those, crazy little thing. I went to bed.
We need to thank our listeners.
Russell, you need to tell us about the listeners.
Yes, we need to thank them. We're on some podcasts, we're top 1%. We're very humbled by it. And we've been doing this for 9 years. For a long time, I couldn't even find us on the podcast channels. I couldn't, Jacquiem. It's a serious joke, but true. Wow. And Leroy, long time no see. Aimee changed everything, and now we're at the top. Aimee, where can people find us? And can they subscribe on those podcast channels?
Yeah. So you guys, Russell's telling the truth. He could not find us. And now that he can, it literally means anybody can. And he knows that. And it's all in good fun. But look for the Crimson, Red, and Gold. You can go to Amazon, Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, Good Pods, anywhere that you can find a podcast. You can go type in Authortalk, look for Crimson, Red, and Gold. You can listen to all of our shows. If you want to watch us, because we are very animated, Valerie has more of a poker face than I do. But if you want to come and laugh with and at us, which is generally what I'm doing, you can come over to our Facebook group, our YouTube channel, or any one of our social media channels to hang out, engage with us like Leroy is. We love engaging and hearing from you guys. Hopefully, Jacquiem will come back. But until then, you guys, yes, you can subscribe to us on those podcast channels. If you would like to hear more about us, you can join our author group. We can no longer go live in the author group because of the different things. Welcome back, Jacquiem.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I know what happened.
About listening to us, and you just click off.
Monday.
Yeah, it's weird. A phone call came in.
It's got to be about you.
Oh, yeah. A phone call will do that to you, for sure.
Oh, no. Wow. I'm here. I'm back.
Yes, we're excited to have you back. So, for all of you guys listening, we are in the top 10 of independent book podcasts on all of those channels. So make sure that you go and hang out with us, subscribe, follow, and you come on over to our YouTube channel or our Facebook group to see and hang out with us. Like I said, you can laugh with or at us because half the time we're doing that ourselves. But
Nice.
until,
Very
you
cool.
come and hang out with us, Valerie, Russell, let's get Jackiem talking about all of his success being a saxophonist and an author and Syracuse and all the greatness that he has going on. So you guys take it away.
Wow. So
Gosh.
should I start? Is this my cue here?
Yeah, I want to just say I am so excited to talk to you because you are just excellently multi-talented person, and in the creative realm, my goodness, Billboard artist, all this kind of stuff, and multi books. Can you just give us a tiny little touch about your saxophone career?
Wow. Well, my saxophone career that's kind of like my main career. I started playing saxophone at 14 in high school. So I didn't know or think that I was going to be this, saxophone player that's performing around the world. It was just something that I was fascinated with, So, but it turns out it became kind of like a huge thing for me. It became my love. So I was practicing profusely every day, 4 hours a day practicing. It was just, I was addicted to the instrument. So, and then I started writing, I remember going into this store called Radio Shack. I don't think you guys have ever heard of it.
Of course I have.
Here we go. Break it on.
I know a lot of people don't know, but there was a little keyboard in there, and I started recording some tracks on the keyboard, and then it would allow you to record it and then play it back and then record something else on top of it. I was blown away. I think I wrote a song in that store until they kicked me out. So
that's an awesome story.
And the Radio Shack stores were small. They were like, what is he doing? He's still here.
They had a museum.
Yes, and I think that just set me on as a producer, which now, I consider myself as not just a saxophone player, but also a producer and writer. I love writing music. So
that's incredible.
Yes. As far as writing is concerned, literary writing, that came later by surprise.
And what spurred that? I mean, just like I know, like for a lot of us in the creative realm, we're just like one thing leads to another and another and another, and before you know it, you have all these different venues. You're branching out. Did that happen for you too?
It's crazy because I never would have imagined that I would have written anything, honestly. As far as writing stories, but I love going to the movies. I love good stories. And I consider myself kind of a critic, when I leave the movies, I'm like, gosh, this was terrible, so, and I just always do that, so I find myself on tour and, we're backstage and I can't remember what movie it was that I saw, but I was really disappointed. So I started writing my own story. Believe it or not, I had this little app called Evernote, and I said, I'm going to do this little story about a girl on another planet. It just started writing, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to approach it. I didn't really know much about storytelling or anything like that. I just started writing and
how long ago was this?
This was, I would say, probably 2012, 2013, somewhere around there. Yeah. So the story that's out now is actually Zaria. That was my first book. and so I was writing it and then I kept coming back to it and refining it and kept coming back to it and refining it and kept coming back to it and refining it, and then start reading, looking at podcasts on how to put a story together and just all of that stuff. And now all of a sudden I'm involved in this whole mindset of writing stories that I never thought that I would be a part of. And the crazy thing is when you're touring, there's a lot of time backstage where you're just kind of just back there doing nothing, waiting for the show to start. And that was when I was, that was my time to write the story, honestly, the first story, which is Zaria. So it took a while. I learned a lot in the process, honestly. Because I think that since I've been putting albums together, I feel that it's the same mental process to put an album together, just like it is to put like a story or a book together, where it's stories, you got chapters and things like that. But in an album, there's songs, but you're looking at the big picture, so to speak. So I felt like I was tapping into the same energy with my first book, Zaria. So I kept coming back to it, and it was just like, I could play God. I could put whatever I want in the story. And that was just so fascinating to me.
And I noticed the main character Zarya, is she's younger. Can you tell me, like, so is the audience, who's the audience for this story?
I would say it's a young adult, teenagers, but adults too. I mean, if you could think of, if you've seen the movie, the Divergent series or Mockingjay. So if you could think of those two stories, but put it like 2,000 years in the future on a distant planet with futuristic vehicles and flying space vehicles and characters, that's kind of the idea. She's going against the system, so to speak, the oppressive system of the planet, so to speak, which is similar to Mockingjay kind of. So except for this is more like, if you can think of the movie Avatar, or if you've seen what is it, The Fifth Element, so it's got that futuristic feel to it, but it's also kind of realistic,
Is it as cool as The Fifth Element?
I think it's much cooler than The Fifth Element. Yeah, yes.
Good answer.
I think it's so much cooler than The Fifth Element.
So but, I guess, did you choose like to go into this like science fiction genre, or dystopian society, or did you just kind of just like fall into that, or what was your influence on writing in that particular vein?
I think because of the movies that I like, which is technically, I love science fiction. I love futuristic stuff. So naturally, that was what I was going to do anyway. If I was going to write any type of story, it's going to be something in the world of science fiction. Now, my second book that came out after that it was science fiction, but it was more realistic. It was more mystery, suspense, crime, thriller, so that was a different kind of a task for me, but I still love science fiction.
Are you talking about the sequel to Zarya, or your new one, Minor Assassin?
Minor Assassin.
Minor Assassin. Tell us about that one, because that sounds very intriguing.
Yeah, so Minor Assassin, again, it deals with a young, someone young, teenage age. I would say that this is, like I said, it's more realistic. If you can think of Karate Kid, so to speak, except for more real than Karate Kid, I would say. He becomes a vigilante to take the law into his own hands because of tragedy. So when he's really young, I don't want to give the story away too much. How do I do that? There's tragedy that happens, and he wants to rescue and save his sister and avenge his parents. So he goes off to Japan, learns how to fight, learns how to use all these kind of weapons, comes back to Las Vegas, and he's just hell-bent on vengeance. Basically, going into the casinos, hacking. It's got that futuristic type of hacking kind of a thing. He's using all of these devices and weapons and bow and arrows and stuff like that. So this is a young, he's about 15 years old, and he's taking out these bad dudes, these gangsters, the same people that the police and the detectives are looking for. So they're like, well, this big time gangster got taken out, but by who? And then, they can't believe that it's someone as young as him, but they're now chasing him just like they're chasing the bad guys to find out who this vigilante is.
I do like that your primary characters in both of these novels are younger, and that gives them room to grow and develop as a character and in their quest for, justice or, whatever their mission is. I like that. Was that a conscious decision to make them like, in that higher teen bracket, or just like connecting with the audience, or what was your, thought process to developing a character at that age?
This question has been coming to me a lot because, like, my first story, Zarya, she's a teenager, and then obviously Minor Assassin is a teenager. And I actually had to ask myself that question. But I kind of feel like it's something about that age where it's like you're just about to go into adulthood, you're figuring things out. It's like a turning point. Exactly. So, and I just feel like the audience can really connect with them. I tried to write the story from the perspective of how someone 15 or 16 years old would actually talk. So, I wouldn't want them to communicate like a full-grown adult. So writing that, just like, how would a 15-year-old say this, or just the dialect that they use and the things that they're into, it really just kind of brought this whole new excitement to the story, so that when you're reading it, it's like taking you into their mind and how they view what's happening to them and what they're going to do to solve the problem, you know, so to speak. So, and it just, honestly, I feel like it's just really exciting writing at, you know, for a character at that age, because it's just so much that they can do. Like you said, they can grow and learn and evolve, and it's just exciting thing to do, really. I mean, I loved it.
I like that, because I mean, I just think back, you know, like when you're in high school, you're thinking like, I can do all these things, I can do all these things, like, and you have like really not a defeatist attitude, because you're like, I'm almost an adult and I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. And so your characters, it sounds like they are just moving forward, pushing on their mission, and to do it, and to get through any like obstacle that comes our way, which is a primary part of probably of your story, just getting through those obstacles, and that's probably makes it even more exciting to read.
Yeah, and like my first story, Zaria, you know, one of her obstacles, two obstacles for her, was her age and her gender, actually, because they didn't believe that she was as smart as she was, because she was, you know, she's like a coder, and she developed this AI board and different things like that, and they wouldn't really take her seriously because of her age. But it turns out she's the best person to do all this.
Yes. And Russell, did you have a question? You look like you're ready to go.
Yes, I do have a question. So, how did you master the word choice that a 15-year-old would have? How did you do that? That's hard.
You know, when I was 15, that was a very vivid time for me. Like my age, 14, 15, and 16, I will never forget. So I honestly just kind of thought like how I was thinking back during that time, you know. And that really kind of helped. I also talk to a lot of students too that at that age. I go to schools and speak to students in music. A lot of musicians in high school are that age, and I hang with them and I talk with them, and it's just interesting to hear their dialect. It reminds me of when I was their age. So it really was easy, honestly, to just like fall right into it.
Okay, well then that's a special skill you have, because you know it can be a real challenge to get the divergent dialects and get the generations right.
Yes, and that's the thing. I mean, obviously social media helps, because I mean, it's nothing but a bunch of, you know, 15, 14, 16, 17-year-olds on social media looking at their dialect, what they're typing and different things like that. Obviously,
That's a good
helps.
point. I didn't think of that.
Yeah. I mean, it's look at what I mean. There's always new terms and stuff that people are using. You know, like for instance, my daughter, she's 10, and she keeps using this word "bro" all the time. She's like, "Hey, bro." I'm like, "I'm your dad. Don't call me bro." You know, so it's just like, you know, but it's just like they're saying new things, you know, and you got to keep up with that, because I am working on a series 2, Minor Assassin, as well, which kind of expands it a little bit. But at the same time, it's like there's new dialect that's happening all the time. Like it's you go online and you see like, what does that mean?
Yeah, I think at least twice a week I have to look up a new term, because I don't know what its current meaning is.
Yeah,
I have to do that like twice a week. In fact, the whole
and that happened during COVID. We had, you know, a high schooler, a college kid, and what else? My son, a young professional, and then another, my nephew came to live with us. The conversations around the table, I tell you, I was like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? The slang. And then the slang is, you know, but this listening, just sitting there during, you know, lots of conversations, and if you're around these young musicians, you probably hear all kinds of stuff, and just it's fascinating. It's fascinating. Even when I'm teaching like in the elementary school level, I'm just like, some of their stuff is just bizarre too. So you really have to just have a like an open ear to all kinds of different slang and just, you know, speech.
Yeah, and even like you text messages too, like, you know, you'll get a text message from, and it's like, what? I gotta Google what that means. You know, so it's like, but it keeps you going, you know.
And it keeps your story fresh, and because you have an imaginary world with Zarya, and I guess I'm not sure your set. What is the setting for Minor Assassin?
Minor Assassin is in Las Vegas. It takes place in 2 places, well, Las Vegas and Tokyo. So it starts off in Las Vegas. That's where the tragedy happens. He goes to Japan. He stays there. He learns. He kind of grows into a teenager in Japan, and he pulls into that culture. And the interesting thing about him is, he's a young African American kid. So he's like, no one there looks like him. So it's this whole cultural shock for him. But he's growing up and he's learning Japanese, and he's learning the way that they are, how they speak, how they talk, how they act, and all of that stuff. So he comes back to Las Vegas, and he's about 15 years old when he comes back to Las Vegas. So it takes place in casinos, buildings, apartments. There's a lot of martial arts in there. If you like Jet Li and different things like that, he's on top of that stuff.
Couple questions about that. What did you use as your background for your Japanese local scenes? And why did you pick Japan? And that's my first question.
Yeah. Oh, well, I've toured Japan as an artist, so I've been all over Japan. Tokyo, Osaka, Nagoya. I've been up into the mountains. I used to go there every year to perform there. So I became accustomed with, the traditions there and the people there and the food and everything. It's a
very beautiful, wonderful place, isn't it?
Beautiful place. Amazing place. I love the culture.
Everyone should go to Japan. That's like,
I think so. It's one of the top places for me.
Even Aimee.
You should go, Aimee. You should definitely go.
You guys, I love you all. I love you all for saying that. You guys are so kind, trying to push me outside of my Texas bubble. But if you had to sit next to me on that plane, you would be like, "Why did this lady come?" Like, I'm terrible at flying, you guys. Like,
you don't need to do that. You have 2 glasses of champagne and take a sleeping pill. You wake up in Tokyo.
There you go. That's I need to think about that.
See, I want to be like, I want to be coherent, like, I don't know. Let's call me crazy.
You're obviously not coherent anyway. Right? So take a magic pill and a glass of champagne and wake up there. It's magic.
I'm coherent. I'm just, dramatic.
Well,
I'm dramatic.
Well, I will say one thing that Texas does have is it called Buc-ee's, or what is it? There's a place.
Yes, Buc-ee's.
Oh,
yeah.
That's like, when I found out about that place, I was like, oh man, this is like a reason to come to Texas. People don't know. People do not know about Buc-ee's.
It's a show.
No.
It's a show.
That's the traffic. You can't hardly get into the Buc-ee's. It's backed up on the feeder. It's every gas
Buc-ee's is where it's at, though. Like, when we're coming back from San Antonio and we hit the one in Bass Strip, I'm telling you, you have so many people that are just like, I drove miles to be here. Like, it's a mall. And like, if you're from Texas, you're just like, it's a gas station. Like, it's super clean. It's great. Yeah. But it's like, it's just a gas station. That is like
it's
a
shopping.
mall.
It's like
shopping.
You can buy a bunch of stuff. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. When I went to Buc-ee's for the first time, I was like, this is it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
See, you were one of those that's just like, it's Buc-ee's.
To his awards that you asked him about before we were on. We need to get.
I want to talk about Syracuse, Jackiem, and all the coolness going on. So I did not know, and you mentioned it beforehand, but you've actually been honored twice and given the keys to that city twice. You said in the past 10 years. So hello. Toot your horn, ring your bell.
Yeah, okay. Well,
I want to know why. Why was he honored?
Why? It's crazy because what I in school in Syracuse, that's where I was learning how to play the saxophone. I was riding my bike in the snow. I was trucking my saxophone in below 0 degrees weather. And
your daughter doesn't believe that story, does she?
Crazy.
She's never seen that weather, so she doesn't even know what that. She doesn't know what that's even like, what that even feels like. But the city took a huge fascination to me and my high school band that I created. We had like this garage band, so to speak. We were really popular in high school. It was me and my brothers, and we were kind of like the it thing. We were always on the news, and they brought cameras to my mom's apartment and just like would have us watching us practice, and it would be on the nightly news and things like that. So I kind of started to create this name. I was also a part of the NAACP AXO program, which I won for the city as a composer as well as contemporary instrumentalist. So I made the city kind of look good. And I was also I was in the mini police academy as well, where we would ride around with police officers and we would do the whole PT training in the morning.
The movie.
This was real, so so it was just like I had this whole archive of stuff that I did in the city, working at the Boys and Girls Club. So and it wasn't easy for me to either, because my mother left Syracuse and went down to Virginia, so I had to maintain an apartment. My last 2 years, 11th grade and 12th grade, I was basically taking care of myself, so I had a full-time job in my senior year, and I was still a part of the band and everything. So it was just kind of this whole story. So I to make a long story short, I leave. I moved down to Virginia, start playing with some bands, and all of a sudden I'm in Los Angeles. I get a record contract. My music is all over the place. It's on the radio. A couple of years later, I have a #1 song. I'm Waiting for You goes #1 for 12 weeks, and then another #1 song. So I'm this young kid now that's like, doing it, I guess. So Syracuse, like, wait, you started here. So when I came back to perform, I didn't know that the mayor, Stephanie Miner, was going to honor me with that kind of a proclamation. It was a huge surprise for me. I know that they was like, you got to come. And I was like, oh, I'm not sure if I'm going to be available because I got this going on this weekend. And then some friends was like, you just really need to come. So did I come? And then all of a sudden, there you go. The Keys to the City, 2010. So more recently, the new mayor, Ben Walsh, honored me as well with a proclamation just last year, because obviously now I'm into literary arts, music, and also education. And he really thought that was something special to represent the city of Syracuse. So that was a huge honor as well. So it's nice that the city remembers me and all of the hard work that I did there. I mean, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. I had to keep my head on. It was tough for me, especially working a full-time job and look, I'm paying rent and I'm like 16. 17, so it's like so that's kind of the story of
that's the best story we've got all month. That's a great story, Jacquiem. Thank you.
Thank you.
What a journey. And if that doesn't give you material for great stories, I don't know what
I got so many stories, I don't know where to put them sometimes. It's just I don't have time to write them. That's the thing. It's like what I'll do is I'll write, okay, I want to do a story about this, and I'll just save it for later. I probably have 50, 60 stories that I want to get to as soon as I get a chance.
Yes.
I love
that. Is so amazing. What an amazing story.
Yeah. That's an incredible story. Like, man, I can't think of anyone like who deserves everything that you have more than you. I mean, like that story just sums up everything. Like I would not be doing that at 16. I graduated high school in 2010 and you're getting the keys to a city. Like I'm over here like, holy cow, what have I done with my life?
I feel old now. Jeez, I feel like Russell.
You're going to be pushing sleds in a minute.
Get on the sleds.
Okay, see.
Hey, I'm telling you, I can't do what Russell does. Like Russell makes me feel old. Like I can't do those things. He's out there pushing sleds and here I am just, stuff in my face watching TV. It's terrible.
That's what's keeping him young.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
I love it.
That's what's keeping him young.
Love it. I love it.
So
man, that's such
a
great story. Yeah. What's happening next?
Well, I mean, my main thing is music. I'm always touring. I'm always on the road. So I'm really kind of gearing up for the tour this year, which is basically it's going to be all throughout until December. So that's keeping me busy. I'm working on a new album. I'm also working on a new book. So, writing music, it's all keeping me busy.
Yes.
Writing, music,
But
practice, all of that. But I would say initially, really, it's working on the album. Honestly, that's kind of
mhm.
going to have a lot of my attention.
And
But
how many
writing
albums
is,
do you have?
oh gosh, I think I'm at 12, 11 or 12 albums, somewhere around there. It's in the
Wow.
double digits.
Wow,
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
so amazing.
yeah. I mean, it's gosh, my first album, Baby Soul, came out in 2007, and then there's Little Man Soul, and then there's a self-title, and then I did a gospel album. So yeah, we're 10, 11 albums in. So yeah, I'll be working on probably album number 12. A lot of singles in between all of that. I've had a recent single that came out called Logichokio, which is a city in Kenya that I visited when I was 20. And that's a really interesting story. I also wrote a short story about it as well, my time in Kenya, which kind of puts the story and the music together. So you guys should look at that. It's on my book club,
That's awesome.
joinerbookclub.com.
Are you on YouTube?
Huh?
So can we go to YouTube and listen to your music then?
Yeah, you can go to YouTube. YouTube is YouTube, Amazon, iTunes, Pandora, all of that. I'm pretty much all of the streaming platforms, so you can find it there. Yeah.
That's so exciting.
Well, but you just dropped this huge bomb that you have a book club. So now you have to tell us about that. Like, what is that? You
Yes.
said it was, joiner.com. So then now you're going to drop all these Easter eggs and think we're not going to ask you. You've lost your
I know,
mind.
right? Yeah, so I started Joiner Book Club probably 4 years ago. And a lot of times I put on there is like the stuff that I'm working on, writing that stuff that I'm writing. Also, I've done a couple of reviews on some books that I've read. I also talk about self-publishing and stuff like that on there too. It's kind of a mix of things. I kind of look at it as maybe like kind of a community. You should really check it out. I also it's a place for my fans to go that want to know more about me as a writer too. So sometimes I write things about being on the road, touring, how I stay inspired and different things like that. I put all of that on my book club, joinerbookclub.com. So check that out. And it'll have you. It's a lot on there. I mean, you could go on Joiner Book Club and be on that for weeks. It's it's kind of a second passion, I guess.
A second, a third, or fourth.
A third or fourth, right? I don't know. It's like, how many passions can you have?
Yes.
But yeah.
Man, you're busy doing a bunch of stuff, like you have a lot of stuff going on, and then you start this book club, which sounds more like it's kind of things that fascinate you within that space or things that you're currently doing. So it's a way of like your fans and stuff to kind of stay current with what you're doing in like a written form.
Exactly, in a written form, and what I'm reading or whatever, and what I might, and also like some books that I haven't written yet, I could do like I might do a blog post on, hey guys, I'm thinking about this story. Let me know what you think or whatever, just to get a feel of what people think.
Yeah, I love that. I love that it's called a book club because it's technically like your club of fans or whatever that are kind of staying current with what you're doing, but you started it because that's just to kind of, I don't know if it was like to hold you accountable, but it was more to just been like, this is everything I'm doing that I enjoy, kind of
exactly. I mean, because my normal website, which is JackieMjoyner.com, it's highly focused on music and recent albums or singles and different things like that. I just felt like it would be nice to kind of separate the writing, from the music, online, so that people can have a clear distinction, because, it's not like I'm just writing just because of it. I really love writing. It's a huge passion of mine to write stories. I didn't think I would fall into writing stories, but when I wrote my first story, Zaria, I was like, this is it. I mean, I just love this, so I picked up this whole new passion halfway through my career. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
I love it. People like me love that. So Russell and Valerie are writers. I have not written a book. I market books. I live through you guys because I know the blood, sweat, and tears that go into writing a book and putting it out into the world, But oh man, like I could get that. I hear that story all the time. I didn't think I'd ever write a book, and then I wrote a book. So here I am saying I'm never going to write a book, and hell, watch, I'll write a book in like 10 years. Been like, oh man.
A lot of people say that, they take it 10 years. One discipline that I did was I said to myself, I'll write for 5 minutes every day, no matter what. And then
Oh, nice.
that's how I finished my first book, was sticking to that.
Nice. See,
Yeah,
there
you got to have
go.
that commitment.
Just a little bit.
Yes, you got to
Yeah.
have it. You got to have that commitment.
Yes.
Mm,
And discipline.
See,
Yeah.
I'm committed to eating. Yeah, I'm committed to eating, you guys. That's my commitment. That's my
I'm also
contribution
committed to
you
eating.
guys. There we
That's
go.
funny.
I
See?
like it.
See, there
I
you go.
like it. Oh my goodness. This has been super fun getting to talk to you, hang out with you, and just honestly, I feel like all three of us are just super honored that we get to say that we got to talk to you and hear all about all the things that you're doing. I mean, you're doing amazing things. I can't think of anyone who deserves them more than you. You've worked incredibly hard,
Thank
and your
you.
stories are, incredible. So I'm
Thank you.
completely honored to just sit here and say that I got to talk to you.
Thank
And
you.
it's just been
Thank you.
such a fun conversation.
Wow.
So with that, let's do closing comments, questions, statements. I'm going to kick it to Russell, who's been oddly quiet today, to close us out in questions. So Russell,
Okay,
what do you
well,
got?
Jackiem, so you're a science fiction guy. Have you read Dune? How many of the Dune books have you read?
Oh gosh, that is
the base science fiction book that you read and had the most influence on you.
First of all, you said Dune, which I need to read that one. I've seen the first movie, and I plan on seeing the second movie. But you have to read the book.
You can't make a good movie out of Dune. It only
You can't. But I did read The Martian after watching the movie, and honestly, that book is amazing. In fact, it's so much more detail in the book than it is in the story. And honestly, I don't even see how you even know what's going on in that movie, The Martian, without reading the book. So that's like, yes, I want to be on that. I'm reading that the second time. Yes.
I just want to say congratulations on all your great success. I'm just, like Aimee said, honored to meet you and wish you the best, because I feel like so much more, there's so much more to come, and we can't even imagine what you're going to be capable of doing. It's going to be, amazing.
Thank you. And I'm sure I'll be back here again, Aimee, on the show. This is fun. I like this. I love the format. It's really nice.
Oh, good. See, I told you we're all going to leave here besties, man. I told you. This is just how it happens.
Yeah. Make sure you guys follow me too on Instagram at Jackiem Joyner as well.
Absolutely. You guys go and do that. We're going to do that 100%. But Jackiem, this has been just a really fun conversation. We were all really looking forward to it. And so just to hear about your success and how it all started and everything has just been incredibly inspiring for this Monday, you guys. Like, oh my gosh, this is just fabulous. So I want to thank you for taking time out of your day to come and hang out and talk with us about your books and the success that you've had in music. And you are welcome back anytime, my friend. You just let Mickey know and we will get you back on.
Awesome. Thank you. This has been a pleasure. It really has.
Oh, good. Well, everybody, we hope that you have a fantastic Monday, a great rest of your week. And until next Monday, everybody, bye for now.